Okay, this is Misty, our barn owl that resides here at Conkers. She's a captive bred barn owl, so that means we have to keep her in captivity, which I, like most people, prefer to see any animal in the wild. But by law, you have to keep a captive bred bird of prey in captivity. If we were to release her, the likelihood of survival would be pretty slim, nil probably. So barn owls, fantastic creatures, absolutely beautiful bird. They're also known as screech owls because they make lots of screeching noises at night time, don't you, Misty? Monkey-faced owl, some people have called them because of their heart-shaped face. And they've even been known as ghost owls because if you were to see a barn owl flying across at night time, it's just a white flash across the sky. It can appear ghost-like. So Misty is 7 years old. Now in captivity, hopefully she can live till she's 12 or 15. But in the wild they only average 3 or 4 years, and that's because they have a lot of stresses in the wild. They've got to find lots of food, they've got to find a roosting site, and up to 5,000 barn owls a year they reckon are killed by road traffic accidents. So these guys, they like to hunt quite low to the ground. If a juvenile barn owl was hunting by a hedgerow, they can get sucked into the slipstream of a truck passing by. Misty, would you like to face the camera? She's a bit camera shy. Looking at her up close, they're an absolutely beautiful bird. They've got razor sharp talons which they use to catch their food. They like to catch voles, shrews, mice, even small birds on occasion. They've got a heart-shaped face. Now that works as a disc which helps them to pinpoint the sound that they're hearing. Underneath her feathers here, she's got asymmetrical ears, so that means one ear is slightly higher than the other. Her right ear is up higher and points downwards. Her left ear is lower but points upwards. And that means that she hears the sounds differently in both ears. So that, along with her heart-shaped face, all of these factors help the owl to process where the sound is coming from. And sound is their primary sense, really. So that's where they've done tests with owls where they can find food just by hearing alone. So from a tree they reckon an owl can hear a mouse's heartbeat. I don't know how true that is, but it's pretty impressive if they can. Or they can catch a little mouse or vole underneath the snow just by sound alone as well. So owls, they're quite lazy by nature. They will just perch somewhere all day, and they only really fly in breeding season or when they're hungry. So when she starts to hunt, she'll take off. She can fly quite low to the ground. Now if you watch her when she spreads her wings out, she's got massive wings compared to a short body, a small body. Come on, Misty. Take off now. She'll settle again. So they've got really big wingspan for a small bird. She only weighs about a pound weight, but the massive wingspan, beautiful patterns. So these big wings enable her to fly very, very slowly. And they can't quite hover like a kestrel, but they can fly very slowly. They quarter across a field, back and forth, low to the ground, until eventually they'll hear a small mammal moving about. Then they pounce. With these razor sharp talons, they'll catch that mouse or vole, and then they fly away to a perch to eat it. Now they like to eat food whole sometimes, meaning that they'll swallow the mouse whole, or sometimes they rip it into shreds. So when an owl eats its meal whole, basically the whole mouse goes into her tummy. Whatever she can't digest, she eventually coughs back up, and that's known as an owl pellet. Excuse me, I need to cough myself. This is an owl pellet. This is one of the pellets that Misty coughed back up. So basically, if she's eaten mice or shrews, she can't digest the bones or the fur, so eventually that all gets knotted up and she coughs it back out. Now these prove invaluable to biologists out in the wild studying wild owl populations, because when they find the pellets they can break them open, and inside they'll find the bones and the fur, and they can figure out what the owls are eating. Excuse me, I can't get over this flu. So they can figure out what wild owl populations are living off. Now most people think that predators rule the prey, but actually it's the other way around, because if there's not an abundance of small prey, these guys aren't going to do well. If there's an abundance of shrews, voles and mice, then the barn owls are likely to do well. I've already mentioned about road traffic accidents with barn owls. Another factor affecting barn owls is lack of roosting spaces. So because they're called barn owls because they like to roost in old buildings and barns, but in this modern age most of those are getting knocked down and converted. So owls are finding roosting spots hard to come by. So it's really important, if you can, I'm just putting these down, to give them some roosting spaces. Now here at Conkers, we're starting a project up where we're going to put out lots of barn owl nest boxes in the area, and we're hoping that with Misty being here, and at night time she's going to screech lots, that might attract some other owls to the area, and hopefully then with some boxes up they may stay and there might be breeding success as well. I've been here for about 3 years living in this area, and I've only heard 2 reports of barn owl sightings in the wild, so we need to boost their numbers if possible. We have got tawny owls, and someone saw a short-eared owl a few days ago, which was very exciting, but we need to boost barn owl populations in the area. Alright, Misty? They reckon a barn owl's eyesight is roughly about twice as powerful as a human's as well. And she's got little black flecks here underneath her wings and on her chest. And the female barn owls have that, whereas the male barn owls tend to be more white in this area. So that's Misty, our resident barn owl, and she proves very, very useful for us when we're talking to children. Just recently I went into a school in Derby and I spent the day talking to the different age groups about owls, and at the end of the day one of the girls came out, she was about 8 years old, and she said, "I love owls more than anything else in the world." So for a chance for a child to get up close to a magnificent creature like this, they can really appreciate the animal, they can see him close up, and then hopefully that will instill in them the need to preserve these for future generations as well. Educates them, it's good all round, and we give her a nice home here at Conkers as well. That's Misty. I'll just get her to look at the camera one more time. Misty, look this way.